guys, I am noticing something pretty important happening on the internet at the moment, and that is the YouTube algorithm is becoming God for many people. It's becoming their source and direction of all information. You know, what you need to remember when you're on YouTube and you have this narrow world that's being presented to you, which is reflecting what you've previously looked at, you have to remember that there are billions of people outside of that small community that you're in who know nothing about what you're seeing. They know absolutely nothing. And one of the prime examples is the vegan, nutritional, paleo thing that goes on the internet. And I was once victim to this, where when researching veganism and vegan science, you just get video after video after video, and you can go to the descriptions and you can find links to studies, but of course they are all in favor of a certain idea. They are not providing equilibrium or balance. Likewise, if you are then looking now at the moment, there's a lot of anti-vegan stuff going on. People think it's like a huge movement because they've been looking at anti-vegan videos and ex-vegan stories, and thus the algorithm is feeding them more and more of those stories, and they think, wow, this is a big thing, but it's really not, because there's just countless people don't know anything about it. So this is the problem with it, with the YouTube algorithms. A little bit dangerous if you don't take a break and understand, hey, this is an electronic algorithm which is designed to keep me and other people watching as much YouTube as possible, and to do that it'll go off my past interests, and thus if I've been watching certain videos on certain topics, the algorithm will keep bringing me them, and all of a sudden it makes you feel like this is all the world is about. If you research 9/11 conspiracies, within a year you'll think the whole world is one big conspiracy, because the algorithm messed with your subconscious and it provided you one-sided information which is constantly about conspiracies and things being hidden from you. And in among there, for sure, there are some conspiracies, but in the most part it is just mindless nonsense coming from people, but you get so used to seeing it that you say, well, that must be true, that's probably true as well, because they deceived me with that. But you have to understand, in that instance, of course, world leaders, if they are going to create any sort of problems on the planet, they're aware that that's going to rise up. It's part of the long game, the big plan. They're well aware what's going to happen. If, for example, 9/11 was an inside job, don't you think that the persons behind it, being masters of human consciousness as they are, seems they are the ones controlling human consciousness on the planet, in the most part, with media, etc., that they didn't know that people would then start researching conspiracies galore? Of course they knew. They absolutely knew. Because there's only a small amount of people who find that day and that event, as in just as a one example, as the official narrative as making sense. There's only a very small pocket of people. So you've got to ask, what's going on? Well, the influence on human consciousness is important. I'm not saying YouTube's trying to negatively influence everybody's consciousness, because it can work in the other way as well. If you're seeking to find things that are very beautiful and kind and loving, you'll get more of it, and that'll bring your energy up as well. If you're looking into dark conspiracies, you'll get more of it, it'll probably bring your energy down. But with the nutritional aspect as well, you can be totally steered off in a direction which is completely biased. And I have been there myself. I have told people they are doing veganism wrong when they told me I can't get better with a vegan diet, I have autoimmune problems, this is not working, this is not working. And I have to admit that recently, due to certain events in my life, and I'm going to make a video about this, I got to the point where I feel bad for the people where I said you're doing it wrong. I feel guilty, I feel terrible. But I realise it's my own ego, and the ego is a tricky thing, and the very last identity of ego is food and sex in the most part. So that's why you see a lot of crazy people in the nutritional movement, because they're just in the last fringes of normal human consciousness, but they've just latched onto that very last detachment. So I used to tell people, no, you're doing it wrong, but now I realise, actual fact, they're not. But the reason I would say it is that I was getting one-sided biased science, because I too was brought up in the Western system, I too was brought up with television and computers, and I too was brought up to better absorb information from a screen, as 99% of us are at the moment anyway, unless you're a good reader and a good researcher. And that's something I say you must see on the planet. with great importance, is that at the moment the algorithm on YouTube and other aspects as well is beginning to think for people, and it's really starting to have an influence on people, and I can see it, and it's problematic. And it's getting to the point where everything is a conspiracy, everything's a government conspiracy, and the more you feed into that, the more confirmation bias you get from other people online who are feeling the same as you, but without any set foundation, without any real genuine information to say this is what it is. It's just you've seen so many people in the world thinking what you are that you think, well, this has to be real. But the realistic truth is that it's a very small, narrow paradigm of what you're thinking. It's just you're seeing a lot of it because you're getting your YouTube algorithm responding to you. Whereas beyond there's so much going on in the world. No one knows anything about your conspiracies or your dietary choices or your dietary wars, or to give those examples. But the algorithms made you think everybody's into it and that's your world, but it's not. And then the problem is when you go into that world on YouTube of conspiracies and awakening and all of this stuff, you come out of it, you go into the real world and you see all these people who are not in your algorithm, who have their own lives and have their own spiritual truths and connections to God, and you feel disconnected from them because you feel like they don't know your truth. But the truth of the matter is you don't know theirs as well, and they feel disconnected from you. And it doesn't make you any more awakened because you've listened to countless people or countless amateur investigators presenting this, that and the other. So there is truth to be found, of course, on YouTube, and it's important that we remember that. But what I'm going to say, and make it very clear once again, don't let the algorithm become your God. And if you are getting really into a topic, if you're getting so into a topic, I suggest you open or use a loved one's other YouTube account if you can, and start using that one to browse around on different topics, and you'll see what I mean. Instead of being sucked into this tunnel of whatever it is you're looking at and thinking that this is such a massive deal that's going on at the moment, you have to realize there's an electronic computer program dragging you in there, and your subconscious is going with it. And I just want to put that out there because I'm seeing it so much. The algorithm is definitely overtaking people's subconscious minds, and I'm able to talk on that because I've been there. And I know the dangers of it, and I'm out of it now. So be wise, be savvy, and remember that there's a computer program feeding you that information on your screen. And when you're feeling some sort of spiritual change going on inside your heart, and you keep seeing the same information, you can think that it's a universal energy that's showing you it. It's not, quite simply a computer program that's feeding you the same information over and over. Otherwise you're saying that universal energy that many call God, or the synchronistic energy of the nature of consciousness is, for example, young girls who don't feel comfortable in their body. It's dragging them into watching makeup video after makeup video. Of course it's not. Likewise, that same energy is not dragging you in to watch video after video on conspiracies. It's a computer program. And the whole point of me saying all of that is step away from it, because your truth is not in YouTube. People in YouTube can give you truth to direct you to go off on your own. Solitary journeys are the only way to discover the truth in this world, without any shadow of a doubt. You come into this world alone, you leave this world alone. The journey with your family is equally as important, but as a solitary journey, what I mean by that is you step away from media, from your family, the influence of other person's opinions, and you find the truth that rises up from deep within inside yourself, deep within your soul, within your heart. And that's the key point. Is if you're looking for truth, yes, you can be given ideas. For instance, the awareness raised on 9/11, etc. definitely raises many questions with what we've seen online. But at the same time, you need to then go away on your own quietly so as you can make your own discernment and your own choice. If you never go away quietly into nature, etc. and sit alone to get that, then the algorithm is going to make you feel and lean towards whatever it is that you've been researching. If you're researching topics that are opposed to the idea that 9/11 is a conspiracy, you'll fall into that trap. If you're researching, just an example, if you're researching the idea that 9/11 is one, you'll go into that road. You see, you won't look at both sides of the story. Eventually, you might at the beginning, but eventually you'll get to the point where you get directed down one road or another, and it's very unhealthy. And I see it the most in nutritional videos at the moment, but I'll make a video on that shortly. Right, that was all. I love you all.